Hey guys, it's Tamara.
And Lindsay.
And this is Take Me to Chelsea, a podcast where two Canadians rewatch and discuss the hit UK reality TV show Made in Chelsea. Today we are discussing Season 1, Episode 2, the title being Quick, Let's Have a Quickie. And it originally aired on May 16th, 2011. So Linz, do you want to start us off with our synopsis?
Rosie is throwing a dinner party and the whole gang has RSVP'd. The shindig is a low-lit, exclusive affair, complete with waiters and bow ties and champagne a-flowin'. To Caggie's chagrin, she finds herself greeted at the door by who other than Funda and Spencer. The rest of the dinner passes in an uncomfortable fashion, and we see Caggie leave abruptly midway through, seemingly overcome by the bizarre love triangle she isn't sure she wants to be a part of. Meanwhile, Gabby is looking forward to Ollie's 24th birthday and the opportunity to whisk him away on a romantic getaway to France. Unbeknownst to his girlfriend, Ollie has invited his besties, Binks and Cheska, to crash the party. Throughout the rest of the episode, Spencer seems to be trying to keep one hand in each basket, flirting with Caggie over text while reassuring Funda he is a completely committed boyfriend. But his true feelings come to a boiling point when he sees that Hugo has set Caggie up with the handsome CJ. Okay, let's pop the champagne.
So the episode kicks off with this dinner party, and Caggie, Funda, and Spencer are all going. And Caggie is extremely nervous to meet Funda.
Not only is she nervous, but you can practically feel her anxiety reaching out from you from the screen. She is so uncomfortable.
She almost feels it almost seems like she's about to cry at certain points. Like she's desperately uncomfortable right from the offset too. Like as soon as she meets Funda and Spencer. And you know what I noticed particularly about that scene when they first meet is Caggie's very quick to take Funda's side, almost trying to be a female ally. I thought she was kind of saying, Spencer, why didn't you invite her to my gig? Like she's trying to come off as very non-threatening, which I think adds credence to at least my position that I don't think she wants to be in this love triangle to begin with.
Yeah, so it seems like Caggie is positioned to have a crush on this guy Spencer, and then she's forced to watch him be super flirty, heavy PDA with his girlfriend from across this dinner table.
And let's take a moment with this. Like when you look at Funda and Spencer at this dinner party, they do not seem like a couple in trouble where the guy is looking for something more. Like they have a genuine connection that is extremely apparent. Like they're very jokey and cutesy with each other. Like he makes a little silly face at her at one point and you just feel like, okay, this is like a real couple. And then you have this almost like Jekyll and Hyde situation where suddenly he's mooning over Caggie. Like it doesn't make sense. I can understand why she's so confused.
Yeah, and not only his behavior at the dinner party, and then the next morning or that same night, he texts her, "Oh, you look so good."
Yeah, so she leaves obviously upset. And then we find out the next scene when she's talking to Hugo that he's been texting her the whole time. He texted her after the gig saying, "Oh, you look so amazing. I'm so confused." Then he texted her after this dinner party.
No, he texted her that after
No, he texted her both times. Oh. Yeah, so crazy, right? Like, this is not a faithful guy who's kind of was like drunk one night and texting her. Like, he is actively pursuing her.
And this is behavior his best friend Hugo can't even condone. I think he was saying how this is super selfish on Spencer's part, kind of playing both girls and trying to be on good terms with both of them.
Yeah, and this is like typical Spencer that comes out later, but early on we feel like he's got a genuine motive. But even Hugo calling him out on the text, like Spencer tries to deny it at first, and then Hugo's like, "Hey man, I've seen the text messages," and he just gets this look like I've been caught out here. It's sketchy. Like I feel like this speaks to Spencer as a character overall or as a person, like as we'll go on to see. I don't know. Okay, and this might be like I think a lot of people will have different opinions than me, but I feel like Spencer is so in it for the chase. I don't even know if it's about Caggie. And obviously we see later on the seasons, like, he's a serial cheater. Do you think this was like the beginning of that? Or are you like a diehard like Spencer and Caggie? Like, you think that they just have something that's Funda's in the way of?
I don't think they just have something that's undeniable. I think what they have is heavily constructed and orchestrated behind the scenes and does ultimately end up as something that we root for as viewers of the show. Caggie's always positioned as the girl Spencer could never get. So everybody kind of plays into that narrative where he is just obsessed with Caggie. He's always loved Caggie, the English rose. Mm-hmm. So it just makes me wonder how much Spencer is doing it for the show, doing it for the ratings, doing it because the producers ask him to, with Caggie, as opposed to his genuine feelings. You're right. Like, I'm not so sure anymore. Whereas when I first watched it, I would have been like, he is completely in love with Caggie. He's always been in love with Caggie. Mm-hmm. He wants to be with Caggie. But yeah, you're right. I'm not quite sure about that anymore.
Okay, so now let's talk about like Caggie owning this whole situation, which I really love. We need to figure this out instead of kind of playing this damsel in uncomfortable love triangle situation. I don't think that was English, but
we need to meet in secret on a bridge.
Okay, no, but I think she's doing the right thing here, trying to take control of the situation and be like, this is not appropriate anymore. This is too confusing. You have misled me, and I'm not down with this. Like, I have to respect her for doing that, and I think that speaks to why we like her so much. Like, yeah, maybe she has feelings for Spencer, but she's not going to do the wrong thing.
She's not going to do the wrong thing right now.
Okay, well, you're getting ahead of us.
Okay, well, we'll see, because I think,
but
yeah, you're right.
In this moment, she's saying, like, I need some space from you. And Spencer totally twisted it to Funda.
Yeah, that I found that conversation was pretty interesting to watch in terms of how we're seeing Spencer behave. Oh, you look so good. I'm so confused. Giving Caggie all these mixed signals. And then next day he's with Funda at the park and he's saying Caggie's has a crush on me. Caggie's really into me and I have to keep her at bay.
Yeah, he tries to make it like it's his idea.
Yeah.
But then it even goes like one step further and Funda's like, oh, well, it's obvious she likes you. Like, I don't think Spencer really said that. Like, I think he was just like, we like decided.
No, I think he did.
Really?
He hinted at that.
Okay.
That's what he wanted her to believe that. So he wouldn't be the bad guy in this situation.
Yeah, he always wants to be the good guy.
He's like the little innocent one being pursued by Caggie.
Okay, but like, imagine you're in this situation. Like, can you imagine being with your boyfriend, having to ask him that and not like just completely destroying your relationship?
And him not giving a straight answer.
So sketchy. Like, if that was me, I feel like I'd want to break up with him right away. And maybe she did.
And maybe, yeah. And then again, this kind of makes you wonder, at what point did she just keep playing the role of this, girlfriend done wrong kind of role for the show? And at what point was this like she knew it was done?
It was done, yeah. So to flip the script a little bit, we see Hugo, who's obviously had enough of Spencer kind of dragging around Caggie, because we have to remember that Caggie and Hugo are genuine friends. Mm-hmm. So it's not just the kind of same like bro code, like, I don't really care what you do to this girl, I'm on your side, man. This is a genuine friendship between Hugo and Caggie. And so to get her out of that space, he says, like, you just need to like clean break from Spencer. Like, I love Spencer, but this is not a good situation for you. Let me introduce you to this guy, CJ.
The dapper CJ.
The dapper CJ, who seems very pleasant, but I understand, like, when you're in the middle of drama with some other guy,
you don't see anybody.
You have no eyes. Even if you're not super interested in that guy, I feel like a setup wasn't going to work.
No.
Having said that, when we see Spencer walk in on it, he is furious.
And like, Caggie's really uncomfortable. Like,
I know.
Which maybe goes again to show her kind of integrity. Mm-hmm. She doesn't play into the CJ thing at all. Like, she could have totally played into that.
She's not trying to get back at him in any way.
No.
She's just seen, like, genuinely this seems like a nice guy.
I'll be polite.
This is
uncomfortable again. That's like our favorite word for Caggie these days. And then Spencer comes in and really storms off and has a huge epic fight with Hugo.
Immature. Freaks out, like, how dare you try and set up the woman who I love, but I'm making wait in the wings with someone else.
So I wonder actually if he was pissed at the show and Hugo because he didn't see it coming, and so he was like, this is my story, this is my script,
this is my soulmate,
and then it's like, wait, now you're getting my best friend to set up this girl.
Like, I bet he was pissed. It was kind of funny to see Spencer
he stormed off in his 3-piece suit.
His little, like, banker suit.
Yeah.
As a side note to all this, we see Francis kind of be put in his place by Millie. She tells him quite clearly, give it up, Caggie is not interested in you. And he's quite snooty about it. And I think he's quite rude. Even before Millie says that, he says to Caggie something about Spencer, like, isn't it time you kind of gave it up? Mm-hmm. And I find that so patronizing and demeaning to her because he's not involved in the situation. So I was kind of happy to see Francis be put in his place.
Yeah, but I always have a soft spot for those rejection moments. I don't know, they're not fun, and you just, I totally agree. Like, he's
I understand.
Completely sympathetic, but in that moment, in like the rose in the last episode, it's like, oh, poor little Francis.
But let's side note to that was Francis was told to leave that rose.
So maybe Francis's affections were dramatized for the purpose of the show.
Yeah. I mean, I think he maybe liked her a little bit. She's beautiful, she's fun, she's cool. I don't know. Do you think maybe they just kind of threw him in there and thought maybe this will pick up?
Create some drama.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, that's ended in this episode.
While all this Caggie Spencer drama is happening over in Chelsea, we are whisked away on a romantic getaway weekend with Gabby and Ollie, who are in France, to ski for his birthday.
His 24th birthday. And I remember at the dinner party, she was kind of saying, like, let's go on a romantic getaway. I'd love to take you away.
And he was like, I want to party with all my friends.
Yeah, so how relatable do you think that is? Like, I remember when I was... Actually, you know what? I probably would have been like 20 when I wanted to party. If I was 24 and in a serious relationship, I feel like I probably would be happy to go to France with my boyfriend and a romantic getaway. Maybe, I mean, obviously everyone's different, but how much do you think this speaks to the fact that he's not happy in his relationship?
Well, and as it comes out a bit more later in the episode, Gabriella was saying, we've hit a rough patch. Things aren't going the way they used to. So they're obviously, struggling. And she, I think, wants to take this opportunity to rekindle, reignite the love.
That's a good point.
Bond. And he, maybe just completely unaware, unattuned, not interested in that.
Or avoiding it. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's not interested in kind of rebonding. Maybe he's already moved on, but he doesn't know how to end it. Mm-hmm.
Typical guy.
Either way, they end up in the hot tub, and I seriously felt so bad for Gabby because she's so happy. You can tell she's so happy. They're in this hot tub in the middle of France.
It's beautiful.
It's extremely romantic. They've got champagne, and she's like, I'm just so happy to be with you here. And he's kind of, I don't know, he's kind of dancing around it. He's not super...
Well, because as we now know, he is patiently waiting for his...
girlfriends to arrive.
Tattoos.
Yeah, Cheska and Binky, who appear out of nowhere and jump in the hot tub, and Gabby cannot hide her disappointment. She looks so uncomfortable. I honestly cannot imagine being in that situation. Your boyfriend has literally invited 2 of his friends to crash your romantic getaway. Like, I can't think of anything that's more obvious of, like, I'm not in this as much as you are. Like, she's obviously expressed at this point how keen she is to be.
And she was very surprised by their arrival.
She's horrified. Like, the look on her face. I know, I feel so bad. And she was talking about how nervous she was to ski. And the next day, they're skiing, and she flat out refuses to ski.
And Ollie picks a fight over it.
Yeah, because... I don't know why. Because he wants
to fight. A silly little fight that, yeah.
But he's done. He's like, come on, Binky, let's go. Like, he just leaves his girlfriend, who's literally brought him to France for his birthday. I love Ollie, but I feel like this wasn't his best moment. Like, I don't think this was the nicest thing I've ever seen him do.
No, I think he's looking for reasons to not be happy because then he can justify it afterwards, saying, oh, this is why it didn't work, or trying to pick on something Gabby's doing to make his behavior justified, but it's just not. Like, it's not. And it's
true. It's deeply uncomfortable.
If you're not happy in your relationship, those conversations are difficult, but I mean, the mature thing to do is have those conversations and not to pick fight over your girlfriend's fear of skiing.
And like get mad at her. Like, I mean, it is kind of funny that they went skiing, but she refuses to ski. Like, that is a little bit, I could imagine, frustrating, but I think it's compounded.
Well, she might have skied if the other girls weren't there.
Oh, yeah, because I think she probably pictured her boyfriend, like, romantically teaching her how to ski. Like, that's a cute moment. Being, like, falling on your butt while you're going down a bunny hill and everyone else is great at skiing and, like, zooming around you, that's not as much fun. And they keep reintroducing this, like, uber metrosexual element. So we see Gabby and Ollie wake up in the morning. He's literally curling his eyelashes before their day on the slopes.
Yeah, like we were saying in the first episode, they are still really sticking with that concept for now, where they're really playing up his more, and this is in quotes, feminine characteristics.
There's one more dynamic that I want to add to this. This is more behind the scenes, but Ollie has but he's since said that how he and Binky met, he liked Binky. Like, he had a crush on her. So I don't know if this is something Gabby knows, but she complained about the fact that, like, Ollie smacks Binky on the bum sometimes. Can you imagine if you knew your boyfriend had liked someone before that he was still very close with and he, like, smacked her on the bum still? Binky shut it down, but I would be extremely uncomfortable with that situation.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell how they're editing it, but it's probably not even edited. I was noting that Gabby seemed jealous of Cheska and Binky, and you're right, it's probably due to the Binky side with that kind of the history between her and Ollie.
Yeah.
But it's really positioned as, like kind of a jealousy. It's like Gabby on one side, Cheska and Binky on one side, and they're kind of, in Gabby's head, kind of competing for his affection.
And I don't think Binky takes it as seriously as Cheska does. Like, Cheska brings it up before they even go, like, do you think we should be doing this? Like, Cheska's a couple years older than Binky. I think she probably takes the idea of this relationship a little bit more seriously. She's a little bit more sensitive to that, and Binky's like, no, it's fun, like, more the merrier. Interesting, though.
So there are also a few B-plots going on in the background. We see Fred and Millie go on a first date.
Oh, yeah.
The iconic piano scene introduction.
Weird.
And I always crack up when Millie eats the asparagus.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this date, to me, felt like a super uncomfortable first date, but I feel like they drank enough to make it like a good hookup.
To loosen the tension.
Yeah, but there's obviously no real chemistry.
I feel like Millie
thinks he's hot.
Millie thinks he's hot. He only dates models. Like, it's all about looks. She wants to be... She's doing that dress scene with Caggie where she's trying all these outfits.
Oh, yeah, she's wearing, like, the super sparkly dress, the fur, like, that's
And Caggie was like, I think that might be a bit much for lunch.
Yeah, she looks like she's dressed to kill.
Yeah.
But it's a lunch date. It's a fancy lunch date, but it's still a lunch date. She doesn't even wear that, though.
No.
But then, he shows up and he starts playing the piano. I mean, to what extent is he just showing off his skills for the show? I don't think he took the date that seriously, or maybe that was his kind of way of joking.
Probably told to do that. Seems like, like we were talking a bit about the goofiness of the show sometimes. Yeah, and it just seems like a goofy thing. Yeah, a little endearing and uncomfortable, like, which is kind of like the hallmarks of the show at times.
You kind of have to admire how forward Millie is about it. Like, she's very upfront about the fact that she thinks he is hot stuff.
She wants that.
And the date ends up, I think, how she was happy about it. It ended up at night, like, that lunch went on for a long time. They presumably went off to a hotel together because that's what it shows. But then
she said they didn't hook up. He dropped her off at home when she was talking to Caggie.
So maybe it was just for the show that they kind of made it seem like that. Or maybe that he was just joking when he said off to the hotel. But I think they had more of a friend vibe.
Definitely. I don't think, and this is not even spoiler, but I don't think that's going anywhere.
No, I don't think so either. And then the second couple... and this kind of sets up kind of another large-scale dynamic in season 1. is Hugo and Amber. Like, Hugo has been pursuing Amber since the first episode. She won't even be Facebook friends with him.
How dare he ask to be her friend on Facebook?
You know, it's so weird.
So
She's
pedestrian.
Like, but that's bizarre, right? Like, when he asked to be Facebook friends, and she's...
Well, he requested it, and
yeah, but she ignored it. Come on, in 2011, everyone was on Facebook all the time. I don't care who you were. We were all on Facebook all the time. It's kind of like now, like when you're like, oh, I didn't get your text. Like, yeah, you got the text. You just ignored it. Like, I think that's the same kind of situation. I don't think they'd have a good dynamic, so I think it's probably a good idea that it didn't happen.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. But again, it does seem a little put on for the show.
But you know what's funny is, like, I think from the face value, they seem well matched. Like, Hugo seems very classy, and Amber seems they seem quite mature compared to a lot of their friends.
It does, but like the Amber we see, which is obviously not who she is,
yeah,
but not super likable. So you're kind of wondering what Hugo sees in her.
And I think we have to be very careful about that too. We're talking about our perception of how they come across as television with the full understanding that they have been heavily edited.
Yeah, so the reality TV show, reality in quotations, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is put together, and obviously who Amber is as a full person is not represented on this show.
Yeah, and that's not something that we're really interested in pursuing, and that's a whole other thing. Like, going into all of these people, who they really are, that's beyond the scope of what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're not passing judgment on, like, the value of these individual people. No. I think just how they are coming across. And we have to remember they're super young, too. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're not 30. They are now. But at the time,
and they're trying to
20s.
Present themselves in a certain way because they're on TV. Being in this position so young, like having that weight on you, having the camera people on you.
And the audience, and knowing, and even your family's perception. I know that this kind of becomes an issue later, maybe like in the first 2 seasons, where they talk about these, you know, essentially young adults and their families not wanting them to be involved. Like, look at Spencer. His brother is married to Pippa Middleton. Like, this is a big deal for those types of families. And I'm sure it was very embarrassing to have these things shown on TV. And I think the kids or the young adults are cognizant of that. So we're obviously not seeing the full picture.
Okay, so Tamara, what was your favorite moment of this episode?
I think my favorite moment was seeing Caggie really stand up for herself and seeing her defend herself and say, this is not okay. I'm not going to be involved in this situation with you and your girlfriend. It's too confusing. I'm out. We need some space. I thought that was really mature and really great to see a woman standing up for herself like that in an otherwise uncomfortable and dramatic situation. What about you, Linz? What was your favorite part of the episode?
I usually go for the funny moments, as you could tell by the Winnie the Pooh one last week. But this week, I'm going to have to go with the final scene where we see Spencer seeing that Hugo set up Caggy with this guy, CJ. And you can just see it bothers him. He gets really upset. He storms out of the restaurant. Hugo chases after him dramatically.
Very dramatic for guys.
Very dramatic for guys. But I think I liked how it really showed the strength of Spencer and Hugo's friendship, because it obviously really, really bothered Hugo, the fact that he could have upset Spencer. So I think those little moments, even like it's reality show, but even when you're talking about like character development or anything, like when you get a glimpse of who these people are and what they care about, it like makes you care about them more.
So, Linz, what are we listening to this week?
So on our playlist from this week, we have lots of music by The Foals, and we have Magic by B.O.B., probably the 2 highlights for me of this week.
So that's it for Season 1, Episode 2. Make sure to find us on Instagram. Leave us your thoughts. What did you think about the episode yourself? Did you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Do you think Caggie's actually desperately in love with Spencer? We really want to hear what you think. Next week, we're talking about Episode 3, where we get to see what happens with CJ and Caggie. And we also get to see, shocker, Millie and Hugo get together.
What?
Join us next week.